Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Cubetractor. This is a brand new strategy slash puzzle slash action game on Steam. And well, you know, when I normally see a game like that on Steam and I see the genre listings as like strategy, action, puzzler, I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, man. It's probably like 90% puzzle or 10% the other two, or you know, 90% strategy and barely a strategy or barely a puzzle or an action game. Cubetractor is the rare case where it's actually a pretty even mix. And this is a game that kind of came out of nowhere for me. Excuse me there. And surprised me a great deal. I've had a lot of fun with this so far. I've only spent about 45 minutes to an hour with it, but it reminds me of kind of playing like a Game Boy Advance game 12 years ago or something like that, but in a very, very good way. So this is available on Steam for $10. I apologize for what is probably a totally borked up resolution here, but that's a result of it not being able to record in full screen for whatever reason on my setup. But in any case, let's start with the very, very basics here. This is still like the very first world, and as far as I know, at least, it is divided into worlds and levels, but we're gonna go back to maybe Examination 2, and you will get a feel for what's going on here. So, this is the basic kind of interface for Cubetractor. It does take place, every single level seems to be its own kind of self-contained 2D plane. So, you know, this is what we've got. We can see the entire map at the same time. I haven't encountered anything with, like, scrolling or anything like that. But anyway, we're playing as Endroy, or Endroy, I suppose. He's a Cubetractor, and what this means is that he can pull cubes towards him. It sounds like a very simple premise, and it is, but it allows him to do some kind of crazy stuff. So why don't we, just get started here. I'm trying to remember exactly what the heck we're supposed to do on this examination. So these signs help us. So we are going to try to pick up these batteries here. By the way, I'm just using WASD or the arrow keys to move around. And what we have to try to do is destroy this cannon. And the way that we do this is by pulling cubes towards us. And sometimes you will get cubes that just kind of like crash into towers or something like that. But in this case, we're actually going to have cubes merge with one another. And by merging cubes, we will actually create towers that will be able to shoot the enemy itself. And you can see its health kind of dwindling there. So we're going to try to create as many towers as we possibly can in order to overwhelm these defenses, and then we'll move on. This is actually a fairly good first level for a tutorial. So, you know, the puzzling elements here are pretty obvious, but also, you know, the added action and strategy elements, you'll see those as we move a little bit further on as well. So again, we're going to have to use some smartness here is basically what this guy is saying. Those wrenches allow us to get extra health. The batteries basically contribute to our score, so, you know, if we want to get if we want to get the highest score possible, we don't want to get hit, and we want to beat the level as quick as we can. So what we're doing here is just destroying the towers a different way. We're kind of pulling these cubes towards us. If I can get back to full health, I might stand a damn chance of getting the gold medal on this level, although I might be a little bit surprised if that actually happens. We can also, you know, at the same time, create some towers down here, like this. I wonder if these will be able to shoot these barricades. Actually, we don't need to shoot the barricades. It still might shoot the barricades. Yeah, it will. But instead, we can just crush it like so with our abilities here. So, the examinations kind of take the form of a time trial, at least so far. You know, there's a score... shit. There's a score system associated with it, but there's also a timing system. So the faster you do things, the more likely you are to get like a gold medal or a you know, the master class medal as they call it. And the batteries are also used in that. In order to at least get a silver medal, you have to get every single battery that is available, or readily available, I should say. So you'll see as we move onwards. Right now, this is just really, really simple, but we'll move on to some more advanced tutorialization and stuff like that. It's not a tower defense game. It kind of seems like it is at first glance, but it's really not. And I know that might sound like I'm crazy right now because I'm basically creating towers and using those towers to destroy other towers. But it's not. It's much more. That was really bad. It's much more of kind of like a strategy game, to be quite honest with you, even though it might seem superficially similar to a tower defense game. It's not. So let's back this up here, by the way. Sorry, I started my sentence there in an awkward way. What I was going to say is, by the way, this actually did win a prize for, I guess, Game of the Festival at the Indie Game Festival in China, which might be why this is on Steam. This may have been automatically greenlit through that process. I'm not 100% sure if that's how it works. I somehow missed one battery somewhere, and that is going to actually cost me a great deal. Please tell me that you are going to live. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do this. The controls, by the way, control absolutely fine. It kind of controls like you're playing a Super Nintendo game on a PC emulator. Not that I've ever done that, of course. But, you know, you use the arrow keys to move around, and then Z and X are going to be your, like, A and B button, basically. So we finished our mission. We got 95% of the batteries. That's not great. We did it very quickly, which is how I do everything. Didn't quite get the silver battery there, but that's okay. Alright, so let's talk about the way the game has been set up so far, and I'm kind of wary to go too much further because I'm still in, like, very much the first kind of world. As you can see, like, all of these books are tutorializations, but examination 5 is a tough one. So there are, basically so far it's been tutorial exam, tutorial exam, tutorial exam, tutorial exam, etc., etc. But there's also these, side quests that you get every once in a while. So let's try to check this one out. I actually haven't played this myself because normally I'm not too much of a side quest dude. But it says for all side quests you need to collect all the batteries in the map. I will do my damnedest here. So it's not just, you might be looking at this right now and thinking that it's like very, very simple and there's only like a few different kinds of turrets that you can create. This is not the case. So far I've created at least 3 or 4 different kinds of turrets. And the game becomes much more about almost like, it's not really quick time events, but about timing when you want the turrets to collide, because they collide and they create a turret or they create a special tile wherever they hit. So if you want to create it closer to the top, you've got to, you know, plan which one you're going to hit first accordingly. Like, for example, if we do it like this, they should hit roughly at the same time because we pulled them at roughly the same time. But maybe we want to get that turret much closer to the bottom, so we pulled them. Ah, well, I fucked it up pretty miserably there. But you want to pull the bottom one second. Let's just try to murder these dudes, though. So step 1, my guess is that we just want to... Oh, I'm standing in the wrong area there. We just want to destroy that dude instead, and we can probably do the same, much the same thing, at least here, with these guys, if they would actually get in my grill. They will follow me a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, are you kidding me? That didn't hit him? Okay, now he's on to me. Oh, well, I hit myself, but hit him regardless. I'm pretty bad at this game overall, if I had to say... like, if I had to say objectively, I suppose. So what I'm going to try to do is create towers in an area where they're not actually going to hit this barrier that the enemy has set up. So I'm going to try to create, like, one down here at the bottom. And I'm going to get it barely. That was kind of close, but managed to make it work. Okay, so let's try it again. We'll create another one down here, kind of close to the bottom. The issue, of course, is that the enemy turrets are, like, shooting much more quickly than I am. So I'm kind of trying to, like, use myself to block it sometimes. This is actually kind of a hard mission, actually, considering it's the side mission. Actually, we should be creating turrets down here as well. I don't... Oh, that's actually, this is the 100% guaranteed way we should be doing this, is trying to create, like, single turrets down here, where the other enemy turret can't actually hit it. So we can create, like, one in each area or something. And that should make things a little bit easier, if I had to guess. Although this guy is still going to get hit by this barrier. So we'll try to create one more turret down here. And hopefully this will allow us to at least destroy one turret, and that'll give us a battery. And we will use that battery. Oh, come on. Towers regenerate health over time, which is really frustrating. And we gotta destroy these barriers as well. Those probably contain a battery. But this is a good way to do it, actually. This will work out for us. By the way, there is no way to, like, pull a cube towards us and then pull it downwards again. At least not yet. Maybe we'll get that ability later. But yeah, there's no way to be like, okay, let's pull this cube to the right, and then we'll pull it down and then hit it with this one. They're all stuck in kind of their same horizontal or vertical plane, whichever way you pulled them first. Okay, now we're going to create some extra turrets here. And I think this will put us in a better chance for success, if I had to guess. I can just get in front of these and block them anyway, and then hopefully they'll survive long enough. Get in front of it. There we go. They'll survive long enough to kill it. Beautiful. Okay, so that's an example of a side mission. You can probably see why I don't play these all that often, because I'm absolutely garbage at them. When it comes to puzzle games or strategy games, as you probably saw if you watched me play through the entirety of XCOM Enemy Unknown, just getting to the end of the mission is the most important thing for me. That's a tall ask in and of itself. Doing it with some kind of special concerns or conditions is unlikely to work out too well. But anyway, there we go. Oh, I've unlocked another side mission. That's kind of cool then. I'm glad that we did a side mission just so you can see that it's not merely like 2 levels per plane or 3 levels per plane. Or per, you know, height, whatever you want to call it. In this per section is probably the best way to call it. But there's actually some more, apparently, that you get on the right side. Almost in like a Super Mario World kind of style. So that's kind of cool. I imagine this one gets even more difficult. But anyway, let's move on to Examination 4. This one took me 6 minutes and 23 seconds, so... even though it might appear at first that these levels are going to be really quick, and in fact they are really quick to start with, they actually become a little bit more complicated as you go along. This is very much, even though it might superficially, and I hate to say this because I don't want to empower these people, but it might superficially seem like a kiddie game. It's not a kiddie game. This is a difficult game. At the very least, it's a game that forces you to think, and there will be times when you, or times when I've, at least so far, kind of sat scratching my head wondering what the heck's going on, and how I'm supposed to succeed here. So... we're gonna get involved in some extra kind of cube alchemy here that you haven't seen before. So if we, by creating or by mixing different kinds of blocks, we create different kinds of kind of special tiles. For example, these are 2 quote-unquote earth blocks. Oh, don't hit me. If we mix these together, as you can see, we create kind of a barrier. Now, if we mix like a turret block with a earth block, we create a power plant. The power plant basically functions as like a buff for our tower, so it makes them fire twice as fast. So then by putting all of this stuff behind this barrier, we should be able to fire super quickly, destroy the enemy barrier, and even if we have to, you know, lose our barrier and possibly even lose our power plant, we will absolutely 100% be able to destroy the enemy tower before something absolutely terrible happens for us. And I'm doing this because, of course, you know, you have to kill all the towers and get all the batteries, or many of the batteries, in order to succeed anyway. Now, we can also use the X key if we want to just kind of dissolve those towers as they are. And you want to do that because otherwise the tiles that are necessary to make them don't respawn. So I'm just going to hang out here. We're going to try to create a barrier maybe like here. That was fairly close. I'm pleased with that nonetheless. And then we're going to pull this guy in. So this is what I mean when I say that, you know, as you get further and further into the game, that was maybe not the best place to put that power plant. It's actually going to work. The barrier's going to work fine. But yeah, as you get further and further into the game, timing your cube placement is actually of the utmost importance. So you can't, it's not enough to simply know how to create the cubes and be able to like pull them together. You have to pull them together at the right intervals and like at the right timing. Otherwise, it's going to be impossible for you to succeed. Because you're gonna just be shot up, because eventually there will be way more defenders than you'll be able to kind of deal with naturally just by creating one or two towers at a time, if that makes sense. So you gotta do things strategically. There's a kind of story going on here too. Apparently, like, Endroit is some kind of student at like a cube tractoring school, and now he's gone haywire, and you know, etc., etc. It's kind of superficial, but that's okay. All right, so now I'm thinking, how are we going to do this? We obviously have to figure out some way to block this, and I guess we're going to set up a power plant and then another tower. So we'll try it like that. That actually went exceptionally well. And we'll try to do basically the same thing that we did as the last time, just a little bit tighter kind of area here. So we got power plant and tower set up. This should be reasonably easy. Even though this game looks really simple and it seems kind of very easy, I've had an exceptionally good time with it so far. I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. Like, I really, for whatever reason, I saw it on Steam. It was like, you know, I'm biased in certain ways, and I'm like, this game doesn't necessarily look like it's up my alley. I play a lot of tower defense. Cube men kind of didn't tickle my fancy, and now we're tractoring cubes. What up with that? But in actuality, I've had a very good time playing Cubetractor so far. My one gripe, it's a little bit expensive at $10 on Steam. This definitely strikes me as a $5 Steam game, and I hate to say things like that because I always hate when people get indignant about like indie game pricing. We messed it up. This is one where timing is exceptionally important, obviously. But yeah, it's the kind of thing where, you know, many people probably spent a couple years of their life working on this. Oh my god, I did this last time I did this mission too. And I respect that, don't get me wrong. At the same time, given what else is on the market at this price point, I don't know if Cubetractor is quite there, but at the same time, I do think it's worth it as well, as weird as that sounds. So now we're going to try to create a power plant of our own here. So I'm just going to, yeah, basically destroy that. And then put this one here, and that power plant is absolutely going to be destroyed. And it didn't even help me out, really. But we did destroy one of the enemy power plants, which is important. So let's try this again. We want to just break one of these things, like so. And then we want to kind of get this power plant out here. Oh, that's going to be bad as well. All right. There's probably a better way to do this. Let me think about this for a second, because it is important. Okay, well, we don't even need to worry about destroying these towers the old-fashioned way. We can just actually kind of bludgeon them to death by bringing cubes into them, like so. And in doing so, we should be A-okay. He's not going to quite be dead yet, but one more hit and he will be. There we go. Okay, so now all we've got is one more enemy power plant and 2 barriers remaining. So, that should be easy enough for us to do. I guess what I will do is create, I'll, can I create a barrier down here? I can. It's going to be tough, though. We're going to do like that and that. Okay, good. That actually is a great barrier for us. And then I'll try to put a power plant on the same spot. Remember, the power plant causes our towers to shoot twice as quickly. And that's not the best place for that tower, because it's going to be, like, totally hittable. But it still might be able to do at least some damage to the enemy. Well, not really. It's probably going to die on this next shot here. That was really bad. We got to get it behind the barrier. Either, like, the far spot or the spot right behind the power plant. Oh, I just let that. Okay, let's try that again. Sometimes you want to just get behind it and try it this way. Okay, so it should be safer there. There's not too much else we can do right now beyond just kind of letting this happen at this point. But yeah, Cubetractor, I think a very polite way to put it is that it's totally unique. I could definitely see this not being a game for everybody. And to a certain extent, it strikes me as a game that I might actually be more prone to play on mobile. Like, I normally don't get into that because honestly, I find it maybe slightly offensive to be like, this isn't a game I would sit down and play on my PC, because I'm sitting down and playing it at my PC right now and having a good time. But at the same time, there we go. That's going to at least allow us to get the silver here, I think. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, you know, if this was on my phone, I would probably play this when I'm pooping and be a little bit more excited about it. But yeah, that being said, Cubetractor is totally competent and unique and kind of cute as well, as much as it might, you know, endanger my masculinity to say. So we beat this level, and we're going to get the silver because we got all of the battery. But sadly, we're not going to get the gold because obviously we are so far away from that time. I was like 2 minutes away. Alright, so let's go quickly try Examination 5. I imagine this is probably not going to go too well for me. I actually got killed a couple of times doing this mission off camera, so I don't know if this is going to be easy for us or difficult. But doesn't this strike you as like a Super Nintendo game from like, you know, 20 years ago, or a Game Boy Advance game that could have come out in the early 2000s? That's the way it feels to me anyway. Okay, so this is the problem here. As you can probably tell, there are a fuck ton of enemies that are shooting at us at all times, and oh my god, good thing that guy added me to his friends list. We're gonna fly off together in the sunset now and be best friends forever. Okay, just get out of the way. There we go. Yeah, there's a fuck ton of things shooting at us, and we're not going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot about it until we can actually get over there. So what we've got to do first is kind of break down these defenses. Oh, and we can't actually break down these defenses, as I've just noticed, because there is water in the way. But what we do want to do is maybe be able to destroy this one that could do a lot of health or a lot of damage to us here. And now we can talk about possibly getting some damage done to the enemies. Okay, so we got to destroy these power plants. To do that, I'm just going to walk over here, which is both ballsy and probably guaranteed to get me hit. Actually, I made it through there. Okay. So we'll just destroy these power plants, and in doing so, then these towers will not become nearly as deadly. There we go. And we got a little bit more on the battery side as well. There's 33 fucking batteries here. That's crazy. And now we're going to create some barriers. So let's toss a barrier this way, and a barrier this way, and then we'll toss a barrier this way, and another one this way, and we'll try to get them set up in roughly the same location. That was alright. And then we're going to start creating some towers. I'm not sure if I can actually put myself in a situation where I can create power plants here, so we'll just continue creating towers, I suppose. We'll send this one down. Don't miss! They totally missed. And then I crashed the block into my own tower, which is, of course, you know, I guess always a concern. Let's try this again. There we go. That one's going to work out pretty well. Now we just got to try this one again. If we hit them at the same time, it should be okay. Alright, we got 4 towers here. We should be able to crush these barriers. I got hit again. My health is still good, though. We should be able to crush these barriers and these towers. And I'm going to get all the... This is kind of a little problem I have with the game, I guess, is that I hate, like, after I've destroyed all the enemy offensive units, I still have to destroy all of these, like, stationary buildings to get the battery power, which is kind of silly to me and makes me slower, but hey. You know, I guess that's why it's time attacking. If you want to get the best score possible, you actually have to be fairly good at what you're doing. Alright, so there's the first phase done there. That was pretty easy. Now, we're probably going to have at least 2 or 3, or, 2 sectors left. Okay, so let's try to kill these. Well, there's 2 ways to do this. You can try to just immediately kill the spiky things, or you can try to set up towers that will actually shoot them. In the meantime, I guess we're going to start by shooting these barriers down here, and by shooting these, we will get access to a new set of blocks, and those blocks should allow us to accomplish some good stuff. And actually, I placed these guys accidentally in the best possible position, because the rock formation is actually totally blocking them from taking damage. So, free batteries for us, and free tiers for the enemy. Now, we probably want to set up like a power plant here, is my guess. So these will, our turrets will fire twice as fast, which does nothing for us right now. But if we set up our turrets in a better location, it actually might. So why don't we get rid of these for a second. Actually, you know what? I've got an idea for how we can make this work even better. Why don't we just throw a bunch of these? Oh no, I got trapped! That's actually, it ruined my plan completely. What I want to do, obviously, is just throw these in there, like this. At least destroy a couple of the enemies. There we go. I don't think that's going to be able to destroy the tower all at once, but one more will. If I could just get it to... Whoa! Okay, that was kind of close. Game control's fine, by the way. I'm just kind of bad in certain situations, I suppose. Let's come down here and quickly throw some more blocks down this way in the hopes that we will destroy the power plant and a couple of the towers. And actually, this is not looking like it's going to be all that difficult right now. What I should point out, by the way, is that to get the Master Medal for, like, each level, it's really unfortunate, but you have to not take any damage at all. I have not come anywhere close to that. So this is a game that definitely has some replay value. if you are the kind of person who's going to get into that, because it's not going to be easy, is the best way to put it, I suppose. Okay, what we want to do here is definitely create a barrier, and we're going to use that barrier to block off some towers. So we're going to try to shoot them like this, and then maybe like that. Oh, I almost got in the way, but I actually did create exactly the right position for that tower, and that tower, actually. And these guys are both in the realm of the power plant, so should be okay, although actually my tower is looking like it's seen better days here. There we go. We got another barrier up there that's doing a little bit of damage at least. Or absorbing a little bit of damage is maybe the way I should put it. We got another tower here, and those are both going to be defended by it. This is actually going pretty well. I guess we managed to destroy that enemy tower, and I didn't even notice. So a couple more shots in here, and we should destroy that tower. And then we should be good to go. So the second phase here, I'd say, went pretty well. We're nowhere near getting the gold on this one, obviously, as you can see. But still, that went pretty well. And obviously, we'll finish off the video after we finish this one right here. By the way, if you're noticing, hey, Northernlion's mic sounds good again. Yeah, I was informed that I actually had my microphone around backwards for like 10 videos. So believe me, I feel like a big idiot. But hey, at least I don't have to buy a new microphone. But hopefully it sounds better and not echoey. Alright, so this is the third part of the exam. I've actually never seen this part. I got to the second part last night. Be careful of bolt guns. Approach them cautiously. These guys shoot like... Oh, Jesus! Okay. Yeah, that's a real issue. I guess... Oh, my God, there's too many of them. Please stop shooting. Doja! Okay, well, you know, if I take damage, it's not the end of the world, because we have a pretty sweet period of invincibility that I can kind of abuse. And just back up a little bit. This is not going to be enough to kill him, because I'm a total idiot. Send one in this way, and then... Oh, he actually did die there. Okay. Now... Just don't die. You can help build barriers, or sorry, you can build barriers to help shield you as you cross the bridge. That's probably a smart idea. Thank you very much, video game. I mean, I was probably gonna do that regardless, considering that, you know, barriers are literally all we have here, but that's cool too. Sure, we'll have you go across like this. Wow, those barriers, not really doing all that much. I guess I could just walk away like that, and do things the old-fashioned way, I suppose. That should be able to kill the turret. Yes, okay. And then we should be able to kill the barrier as well. And I think my thinking is, or the rock, paper, scissors here, is that those bolt guns can't aim very far, whereas your standard tower can. So if I just start putting... Oh, we got all the cubes! So I actually should get a silver on this at least, which is kind of surprising. So I should be able to hit these guys from like across the river with these towers, especially with the power plant. Yeah, alright, beautiful. So this is going to be how we're going to beat this here. And that turned out surprisingly well for me. So, you know, it's not solving the riddle of the Sphinx every fucking time. It's not necessarily the hardest or least intuitive puzzle game in the world, but still a lot of fun. For its appearances and the fact that I'd never heard of it, I really expected to not like this game as much as I do. Hopefully that sentence makes any sense at all. What I mean by that, of course, is... you know, I was maybe a little bit kind of shitty and biased, so I was like, oh, this game looks like it's kind of for casual scum, not for hardcore indie gamers like me. Fuck that, man. This game's totally cool. This is Cubetractor. There will be a link in the video description to check this out on Steam if you are interested. It's $10 on Steam, which is the only kind of complaint I have about this. If this is a $5 game, I would feel comfortable recommending it to basically anybody. But I know there's people out there that are like, you know, $10 for an indie game, it's got to really knock my socks off. I'm not necessarily in that camp, but if you are in that camp where you're like, every game has to be Braid or FTL or Isaac levels of replay value, then, you know, Cubetractor is probably not the game for you at that price point, but I'd encourage you to look out for it, you know, in some sales in the future. But as always, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you found it a little bit informative and maybe a little bit entertaining as well. As always, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.